In 1659, if you said Merry Christmas in Boston, you didn't get a present. You got a fine. For 22 years, celebrating Christmas in America was against the law. Why? Because the Puritans, the people who knew the Bible best, knew a historical reality that modern history has tried to scrub away. They knew that Christmas wasn't originally Christian. They knew it was a rowdy, chaotic, ancient street festival that the church had adopted to control the masses. You are being sold a version of history that was invented by department stores and marketing agencies less than 100 years ago. From the three kings who never existed to the mystical shamans who gave us flying reindeer, here are the 40 Christmas myths that fooled the entire world. Number 1. Jesus was not born on December 25th. If you look at the text of the Bible, specifically Luke chapter 2, verse 8, it explicitly mentions shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. This singular detail challenges the December narrative. In Judea, December is a month of freezing rain and cold temperatures. No competent shepherd would leave their sheep exposed in open fields during the winter solstice. The animals would be corralled in caves or shelters. Furthermore, the census of Quirinius would never have been conducted in midwinter because the Roman roads would have been muddy and impassable. Most historians agree the birth likely happened in the spring or early autumn. Number 2, Christmas isn't a unique Christian invention. It is a strategic rebranding of a much older, much wilder party. In ancient Rome, late December was the season of Saturnalia, the biggest festival of the year. It was a week of total chaos and rule-breaking to honor Saturn, the god of agriculture. During Saturnalia, the social order was inverted. Masters served their servants, courts were closed, and rules were ignored. The church, unable to stop the people from celebrating, decided in the 4th century simply to adopt the date. They placed a holy label on an ancient festival to smooth the transition for converts. Number 3, the 12 Days of Christmas is just a song. It is actually a direct holdover from Yule, the Germanic festival of the winter solstice. The Norse people and Germanic tribes believed the sun essentially stood still for 12 days during the darkest part of the year. They believed that during these 12 days, the wild hunt, a ghostly procession of spirits led by the god Odin, would ride across the sky. To stay safe, people stayed indoors and feasted. The song we sing today is a memory of a time when people were hiding from spirits. Number 4, the Yule log wasn't for warmth. Today we watch a video of a burning log on Netflix, but the ancients burned a massive oak log as a superstitious ward. The tradition required that the log be kept burning for the entire 12 days of Yule. If the fire went out, it was considered a bad omen for the coming year. Furthermore, the ashes were kept under the bed for the rest of the year because people believed they protected the house from storms. Number 5, mistletoe isn't romantic. The tradition of kissing under the mistletoe is a Victorian invention that sanitized a much darker ritual. The ancient druids of the British Isles cut mistletoe from oak trees because they believed it had mystical powers. The ritual involved a high priest cutting the plant with a golden sickle, often followed by animal offerings. But biologically, mistletoe is a parasite. It takes nutrients from the host tree to survive. And the name? In Anglo-Saxon, it translates to droppings on a twig because the seeds are spread through birds. So you are standing under a parasitic plant used in ancient rituals. Number 6, Santa Claus does not live at the North Pole. The geography of our modern myth is completely fabricated by 19th century cartoonist Thomas Nast. The real man behind the myth, Saint Nicholas, lived in Myra, which is in modern-day Turkey. He was a Greek bishop who lived in the 4th century. He never saw snow in the way we imagine. He never wore a fur-lined suit, and he certainly didn't employ elves. Number 7, Santa wasn't a fat, jolly toy maker. The historical Saint Nicholas was a skinny, fiery defender of the church who spent time in prison for his beliefs during the persecution of Christians. Forensic reconstruction of his skull shows he had a broken nose, likely from his time in captivity. He didn't run a toy shop. He was famous for giving money to the poor to prevent them from falling into servitude. The most famous story involves him tossing bags of gold through a window to provide dowries for 3 impoverished sisters who were about to be forced into a terrible life by their father. Number 8, Saint Nick isn't a children's character. If you dig into the medieval legends that made Saint Nicholas famous, they are frightening. The most famous legend involves him entering an inn during a famine. A wicked innkeeper had harmed 3 young boys and hidden them in a brine barrel to sell as meat to unsuspecting customers. Saint Nicholas realized what had happened, prayed over the barrel, and restored the children. This is a story about a grim fate, not a bedtime story about a guy who likes cookies. Number 9. The sleigh isn't Christian. The idea of a bearded man flying through the night sky to deliver gifts comes directly from Norse mythology. It is Odin. The Norse god Odin flew across the night sky during Yule. But he didn't ride in a sleigh. He rode an 8-legged horse. Children would leave straw and carrots in their boots for Odin's horse, and in return, Odin would leave them gifts. When Christianity moved north, they swapped the horse for reindeer. Number 10. The 8 reindeer. Speaking of the reindeer, they didn't exist in folklore until 1823. Before that, Santa was depicted riding a white horse or walking. The 8 specific reindeer were invented wholesale by the poet Clement Clarke Moore in his poem A Visit from St. Nicholas. Fun fact, Donner and Blitzen were originally Dunder and Bliksem, which is Dutch for thunder and lightning. Number 11, Santa hasn't always been red. If you look at illustrations from the Civil War era, Santa was a shapeshifter. He was depicted as tall and gaunt, or sometimes as a small elf, wearing robes of green, brown, or blue. The green Santa was a symbol of the coming spring and nature. The standardization of the red suit was a slow process that had a lot to do with printing presses. Number 12, the Coca-Cola myth. You have probably heard that Coca-Cola invented Santa. While they didn't invent him, they popularized him. In 1931, the company hired artist Haddon Sundblom to create a new campaign. Sundblom painted Santa as a massive, wholesome, bright red and white figure to match the brand colors. This campaign ran for so many decades that it effectively erased all other versions of Santa from the public consciousness. Number 13, there were not 3 kings. Go check your Bible. Matthew chapter 2 never says 3. It says Magi from the east. It lists 3 gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But that doesn't mean there were 3 bearers. Eastern traditions often depict 12 magi. The idea of 3 men was popularized by the Western Church to make the story easier to tell in plays. Number 14, they weren't kings. The text calls them magi. This is the root word for magician. They were almost certainly Persian astrologers who read the stars. The song We Three Kings was written in 1857 by an American clergyman. He added the king's title to make them sound more majestic, but historically they were scholars, not royalty. Number 15, they never went to the stable. The Bible says by the time the Magi arrived, Jesus was a young child, perhaps 2 years old, and the family was living in a house. They missed the birth entirely. Number 16, Jesus wasn't born in a wooden stable. The Western image of a wooden barn is based on European architecture. In 1st century Judea, animals were kept in caves or in the lower floor of a split-level house to utilize their body heat. The manger mentioned in the text would have been carved into the floor or wall of a cave. Number 17, the inn wasn't full. The Greek word used in the Gospel of Luke is kataluma. This translates better to guest room, not a commercial hotel. Joseph was likely staying with relatives. The inn being full simply meant the upper guest room of the family house was already occupied, so Joseph and Mary had to stay in the lower room with the animals. Number 18, the Star of Bethlehem wasn't a supernova. Astronomers have modeled the night sky from that era. The most likely explanation for the star was a planetary conjunction in 7 BC. Jupiter and Saturn aligned 3 separate times. To an ancient astrologer, this would have read like a giant sign in the sky. It wasn't a single bright comet, it was a cosmic alignment. Number 19, Rudolph is not an ancient legend. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was created in a boardroom in 1939. Robert L. May, a copywriter for a department store in Chicago, was tasked with creating a character for a free coloring book to get parents to buy more merchandise. The story is essentially a marketing gimmick designed to drive traffic during the Great Depression. Number 20, Jingle Bells is not a Christmas carol. James Lord Pierpont wrote the song in 1857 for a Thanksgiving church service. The intent was Thanksgiving, not Christmas. Number 21. It is a party song. Jingle Bells wasn't holy. It was a rowdy song about drag racing sleighs to impress girls. The line upsot in the second verse means the sleigh crashed because the driver was likely behaving recklessly. The song describes a young man trying to impress a girl named Miss Fanny Bright, only to crash his sleigh. We turned a party anthem about reckless driving into a children's carol. Number 22. Prince Albert didn't invent the Christmas tree. While he made it trendy in England in 1841, the tradition dates back to 16th century Germany. Legend says Martin Luther was the first to put candles on a tree. But even before that, it goes back to the ancient use of evergreen boughs, which were brought inside during winter festivals to symbolize life persisting through the cold. Number 23. Xmas isn't disrespectful. People often get angry that writing Xmas removes Christ from Christmas. This is historically incorrect. In the Greek alphabet, the letter chi, which looks like our X, is the first letter of the word Christos. For the early church, X was a holy abbreviation. Using Xmas is actually historically accurate. Number 24. Good King Wenceslas wasn't a king. The famous carol describes a king, but the historical Wenceslas was only a Duke of Bohemia in the 10th century. And the story isn't festive. He was betrayed by his own brother, who invited him to a feast and then ended his life at the church door. Number 25. The candy cane isn't a religious symbol. The idea that the white represents purity and the red stripes represent suffering is a modern invention. In 1670, a choir master in Germany needed a way to keep children quiet during long services. He asked a candy maker to bend white sugar sticks into shepherd's crooks to justify handing out sweets in church. It was a bribe to keep toddlers quiet. Number 26. Stockings aren't heartwarming. The tradition comes from a legend of St. Nicholas, where a destitute nobleman had 3 daughters but no money for their dowries, meaning they would likely face a terrible future of servitude. St. Nicholas wanted to help anonymously, so he tossed bags of gold coins down the chimney. The gold landed in the girls' stockings, which were hung by the fire to dry. We turned a story about preventing a grim fate into an excuse to buy trinkets. Number 27. The Christmas pickle is a lie. Americans hide a pickle ornament believing it is an old German tradition. If you ask an actual German about this, they have never heard of it. This myth was invented in the 1890s by department stores to sell imported glass vegetable ornaments. Number 28. Poinsettias aren't dangerous. The myth that they are poisonous started in 1919. The truth is, poinsettias are only mildly irritating. A child would have to eat a massive amount to reach a toxic level. They taste terrible, but they are not the danger they are made out to be. Number 29. Tinsel wasn't always plastic. Originally, tinsel was made of real silver. But because silver tarnishes, manufacturers in the 20th century switched to lead. Yes, until the 1970s, families draped their trees in lead foil. It wasn't until safety regulations intervened that we switched to plastic. Number 30. Elves aren't cute toy makers. In original Scandinavian folklore, the creatures associated with Yule were the Nisse. They weren't happy employees. They were temperamental house spirits. You had to leave them a bowl of porridge. If you didn't, they would harm your livestock or burn down your barn. Number 31. Mrs. Claus didn't exist. For over 1,000 years, St. Nicholas was a bachelor. The idea of Mrs. Claus didn't appear until 1849 in a short story. She was invented because Victorian society preferred the idea of him being married to make him seem more socially acceptable. Number 32. Santa doesn't work alone. In original European legends, Santa had a partner. In the Netherlands, he travels with a companion. In France, he travels with the whipping father who punishes bad children. The American version removed the enforcer to make the holiday safer for advertisers. Number 33. Krampus. In Austria and Bavaria, Santa's partner is Krampus, a terrifying creature. While St. Nicholas gave gifts to the good kids, Krampus was responsible for the bad ones. He didn't just leave coal, he punished children and carried them off. The Krampus run is still a tradition today, reminding us that the holiday used to be about fear as much as joy. Number 34. The Little Drummer Boy is fake history. It was written in 1941 by an American composer. Historically, the song is ridiculous. A mother with a newborn baby in a cold environment would not want a random child banging on a snare drum. Number 35. Turkey is a modern addition. For centuries, the traditional Christmas meat in England was boar or goose. Turkey is a North American bird. It only became the standard in the 19th century, largely popularized by Charles Dickens, simply because turkeys were larger and cheaper to farm. Number 36. Eggnog used to cause conflicts. In early America, eggnog was a riot starter. The most famous incident is the Eggnog Riot of 1826 at West Point. Cadets smuggled in gallons of whiskey to make eggnog. The resulting chaotic brawl involved smashed windows and severe conflict with officers. Number 37. Advent calendars are a candy scam. The tradition started with German Lutherans simply marking a chalk line on their door. The paper calendar with little doors didn't appear until the early 1900s. The chocolate didn't show up until the late 1950s, pushed by candy companies to sell you less chocolate for a higher price. Number 38. Boxing Day isn't about fighting. It dates back to the Middle Ages and the alms box in the church. It was the day the aristocracy would box up their leftovers to give to their servants, who finally got a day off. It was essentially a day of charity for the poor. Number 39. The holiday blues statistic is false. You often hear that self-harm rates are highest at Christmas. This is statistically false. According to health organizations, these rates are actually at their lowest in December. The media pushes this myth for drama, but the reality is that the holiday season often brings people together. Number 40. The truth doesn't ruin the magic. There is a fear that knowing the history ruins the holiday. It doesn't. Understanding that Christmas is a mix of Roman parties, ancient rituals, and modern marketing makes it human. We didn't inherit a perfect day. We built a chaotic, messy, and beautiful one right here on Earth. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the history of the holidays. I'm grateful for you watching. I want to wish you a happy holiday and a happy new year. This has been Lying Legends.